for such a time as this.
Welcome to our first episode of For Such a Time as This. I am Dr. Dione of the Spirit of Esther Ministry, and I have a guest with me from the ministry as well.
My name is Tanique Farron. I'm the baby Christian in the group.
Yes, she want to call herself the baby Christian, but you know what? In this ministry, we have so many different types of ladies on different spiritual levels. We have the very mature, and we have the baby ones. And I like Tanique to hang out with me sometimes a bit, because it's good to mold someone and to bring them up behind you so that they can grow into their own spirituality. And this is a part of what our ministry is about for women. Now, we want to introduce you to this podcast. It's brand new, and this is our introductory episode. And we just wanted to tell you how we struggled to get here today, because this podcast is like 4 years that the Lord has called it, and I have been totally disobedient. I'm kind of scared, honestly, of social media and putting myself out there. But you know what? As Christians, we have to die to ourselves and be crucified like Christ so that we no longer live and Christ lives in us. And one of the ways that Christ lives in us is by us being witnesses like he called us to be. The Great Commission, to go out and preach the gospel. So I have to put aside self. But you know, it took me 4 years to put aside self. Recently, Tanique has really been a very good inspiration to me to getting this together. Her excitement, and you see, that's the thing with the baby Christians, like kids, they're so excited. They just don't even realize that people can be scared, you know? So baby Christians are like kids. Hey, let's get this podcast going. Let's get it going. And I'm like, what the heck are you talking about? Like, I'm scared. And you can't even show the fear too much to them, because you want them to be encouraged and you want them to think you're bold when you really are not. So,
yes,
we struggled. Tanique, how did we struggle this morning to even come up to this room and get this done?
we had a million stuff that is to be done. But, you know, we keep putting off this podcast.
Mm-hmm.
And in setting up, just now, I realized the devil, he's not going to stop us. We start
to yawn. We really did.
like we wanted to sleep. And if we go back to what we was doing before, we'll be okay.
We're not sleeping.
You know, so you know, when the devil really sets out to manipulate and discourage, and because I know I want to do this podcast with you, Dione, and I realized something, and I haven't said it to you. Whenever I am ready to come and do the podcast, I'll be in here, I'll wait, I'll be writing loads of stuff like I'm doing a book. And,
I'm not ready.
Right, you're not ready. And by the time you're ready, I'm like, I got to work up on this. But I tell you something, the minute you hit record, I am ready.
Yeah.
You see how the devil, he doesn't play fair at all.
Like right before we hit the record to start, Tanique and I was just yawning, and we're like, oh my God, and we're laughing like crazy. We just kept yawning, and Tanique is like binding up the devil, and so it's been a lot. It's been a struggle, and actually, Tanique really started to get on me from last month to do this, and I've gone through all the artwork, get everything together. The administrative part of it is done. But to come up and get it done, oh my God, it's been one thing or another. It is, like Tanique said, when she's ready, I'm not. When I'm ready, she's not. So it's been a fight. So we really struggled to get here.
I guess we have to live right here beside, the
Yeah, we got to stay in this room.
Yes, we have to,
Yes, absolutely. And so we wanted to take this time to just let you know what this podcast is going to be about. We're going to be addressing the spiritual life outside of the church building, meaning how do you navigate your spiritual life and keep it intact even when you're not in church or in the safety or the familiarity of Christian people? What happens when you're home and the kids start really acting up, and even the dogs are doing weird stuff, or the spouse is annoying you, or the bills come, or something happens, and How do you navigate that when you don't have the pastor to reach out to pray for you, or that good Christian sister to call? And because, sometimes we call our siblings in Christ and they have their own things that they're going on with too. And, they can only offer you a little bit of encouragement, but that's it. But you need real solution. What do you do outside of those times?
Yes. I, for one, struggle real hard with it. I think this is a great thing we're doing with this podcast. For me, being behind the mic right now is stripping me of everything. It is like if I want to tell a little lie. Don't judge. I'm a baby Christian. A little white lie is almost as if I can't.
Yeah, because it kind of holds you accountable, right?
Exactly. So I'm coming bare,
Yeah.
to you guys out there. I am truly. I said to myself, I feel like I'm representing every baby Christian that's out there right now. There is stuff we're going to touch, points we're going to make. I pretty much feel like a lot of us going through the same thing I'm going through, because I often feel like I'm 10 person in one. My head is always thinking and I'm questioning stuff. So yes, how do we
Navigate that? How we really
navigate outside of church is a huge thing, because I think the church is focused on, for me, I'm sorry, it's the numbers in the church.
And they're not focusing too much on growing the person.
Exactly.
Yes, a lot of churches are really guilty of doing that. And we find that a lot these days. And so you find that there's a lot of people who are not really interested in church, because you seem to always be bombarded with the offering and the tithes and the stuff that really don't address what happens when you go home.
Exactly.
Those times. And when we think about Tanique and I, we're actually living in a state called Idaho, the great state of Idaho. We are two Black Jamaicans. So right away you can tell there's not much like us here in Idaho. We don't have the kind of Christianity or spirituality that we're used to in the Black churches, or even in the churches where we come from in Jamaica. You're not going to find that here. So how do we navigate our spiritual life with no support? And when we think of like Queen Esther in the Bible, that's another perfect story, because Queen Esther was a Hebraic woman who lived in a Persian palace. And nobody knew she was even a Hebrew girl. She was passing off herself as a Persian with a Persian name, Esther. The Hebrew name was Hadassah. So how did Queen Esther navigate in the palace? And yet the hand of God moved mightily through her to save a whole nation. As a girl in a palace that nobody else was like her, or she would have been killed, literally. Esther didn't have a church to go to. She didn't have a temple to go worship. She didn't pay tithes. She didn't get her sins sacrificed and be cleansed by sacrificial offerings by a priest in a temple. That wasn't available to her. So that's kind of like how we feel, right, Tanique? We feel
exactly.
What we call it? We call it like a fish out of the sea.
Yes, definitely. And it hurts me to see and feel that way because of how I see Christianity, how we should be there for each other. But
exactly.
I mean, as we said, people have their lives, I think we don't focus too much on Christ. And we need to realize that we need him 24/7.
And he is everywhere. He's going to be there in the palace with Esther. He's going to be here with us in Idaho. He's going to be there with you guys when you're not in church on a Sunday or a Saturday, whatever day you worship. What happens to the other 6 days of the week when the problems hit you and the stress? What happens in those days? So this podcast is about showing you how we navigate and to talk about those things that happens when you don't have the spiritual support, because not all the time you will have it. It will not be readily available. And our lives is really chock full of that information, which is why I feel like God. I mean, when I told people that I was moving to Idaho, they're like, "What? Is there even black people there?" Like, but I don't care, because wherever I am, I bloom where I'm planted. But it's not an easy blooming. It's blooming stressful.
It is.
It's not easy.
It is.
Really isn't not easy. And yeah, we can use Zoom and all of that to be in touch with our people, or a phone call. Or it's not the same. It really isn't the same. Because sometimes you call and people are not available. But you know what? Jesus is always there.
He is. Oh
Always there.
You say that and I feel like I want to cry, because I'm looking where I'm coming from to where I'm at now, right this present moment. And it is truly amazing. So while the struggles are there, but I see every day how God works through for me. He comes through for me. So we might not be exactly where we want to be, but we're getting there. We just have to hold on to him. Faith.
And I'm seeing how God has been stripping both you and I of the familiar things.
Exactly.
I mean, you are here in Idaho. You're not by yourself. You brought 2 young black boys with you to come to this predominant white state. How do we navigate that as Christians? There is literally no support spiritually for us. Yes, there are people here who are nice and, you know, they'll pray for you and all that. But when you're used to a certain type of Christianity or spirituality and it's not there anymore, what do? But you have to do, because we're not always going to be called to be in the place that we're familiar with. Christianity is always going to be about taking us outside of our comfort zone.
It is. And I tell you this too, you know, while we are searching and learning as we go, don't forget about our kids.
Yes.
You know, they adapt. They learn what they see. We are setting examples. And I just want to say this. My son told me a very interesting story yesterday. Came home from school.
Which one of them?
Dimitri. The
9-year-old.
Right.
Okay.
My 9-year-old boy came home from school and told me a very interesting story. He has this best friend. She's a female. It would have been probably the second time they are having a conversation about the color of their skin. Now, just remember that the state we live in, Idaho,
95% white.
95% white.
And 2% black.
Yeah, let's work the maths, people. You know, the math isn't mathing just now, but we good. So kids are very innocent and seeing things new to them. It's okay to question it. And I'm so proud of my son with his replies that he gives. God bless him. The first incident that took place was when his now best friend said to him, "How do you feel being black?" You know, he replied by asking her a question, "How do you feel being white?" And they both paused. And he came out with, "Have you ever had chocolate candy?" She said, "Yes, she loves it." And he said, "I am caramel. You love me too." And that was so sweet, because I try not to put on too much about the color and, you know, be careful, because I don't want to scare him. I don't want him to feel like he's walking on eggshells.
Yeah.
But last night he said his best friend came up to him and said, "I'm trying to explain to my parents about our friendship." She was being honest and she's curious and she's trying to teach her parents in accepting every culture, every nation, and that we're all one. So he has to explain stuff to her, and I was concerned because I really don't, as I say, put upon him the word racism or, you know, look out for this and look out for that. I just always say, kill them with kindness.
But see, that comes back to navigating in a state where it's predominantly white, and you're going to bring it back to Christ. Because what we did with Dimitri and Aiden, we really taught them about themselves. We give them so much self-esteem, so much identity in Christ. We let them understand how God created them, how it is okay to be different than somebody else. We also told them how it's not going to be okay with somebody else, that they are different from them.
So
but the key is to be secure in your identity.
So this is what he replied when she asked, "Are you from South Africa?" Mm-hmm. He replied by saying, "No, I am born Jamaican. Mm-hmm. But I want you to share with your parents that we worship one person. That's God. He made all of us. It don't matter what color our skin is, how nappy my hair looks, or how straight your hair looks." Mm-hmm. I said, look at it as he made us from this beautiful sun, and he dyed the sun in different colors.
Oh, that's so cool. I like that.
When he said that to me last night, tears was rolling down my eyes because I was like, where I get this child from?
And we didn't even tell him that verbiage. He didn't get that.
Exactly.
We just told him about the chocolate thing, and then his brain took it somewhere else.
And then, he ended his conversation with his best friend by saying, I am in a secure home where we talk about God freely.
Oh, yeah.
In my home, we have no racism. We only have God. My auntie Dione taught me that.
Oh.
And when you just think that your kids
are not listening,
are glued to the device that so kills us, when you think they're not listening,
they
are.
Oh my God, that is so cool.
They are. Because he would tell his friend, my auntie Dione, she prays for everything. she and mom, she be talking, they praying, and you think they're talking to somebody. You think the house is gone mad. But it's just to show you the example we set for them.
Yeah, we didn't even know that they were.
We don't have to depend on the church.
Yeah.
Because we haven't
even been to church yet since we've been here.
Exactly.
I've been here for over a year, and I still haven't been to a church yet. We went to one church to go check it out. We went to another one. We show up late, like 2 hours late. But hey, yeah. We haven't been to a church yet, so we're not a part of a spiritual community here as yet.
And we're doing good, people. It's just to show you that we don't have to take the church body by itself and say, this
don't
is
gotta be in the building.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because then we're making it a habit,
We're going to make it about the building. Like, if you can't get it, that's why when COVID happened, a lot of people couldn't function spiritually because they don't know how to live in a life outside of the church building.
Exactly. And we can do this. Everywhere you go is it's your little church, whether it's in the car, in your bathroom, washing the dishes, it don't matter what. Zone out and say, this is my ministry. Lord, take charge.
And this is what we're really going to be sharing with you going forward. This is what this podcast is about. And we're going to touch some really sensitive topics.
Yeah.
And we're going to share some testimonies. And we're going to talk about our day-to-day experiences. And we're also going to have other guests to come on and share their experience as well. We have to do this, people. We have to do this. We're moving in an era where the church building may not be anymore. Everything is all about social media and virtual this and virtual that. How does God fit in all of that? Do you need to be in the church building? It's a question you have to ask yourself. We could have another pandemic, God forbid. We could have another shutdown. What do we do during that time? Are we going to lose our spirituality? Where is Jesus in those moments? Because realistically, he is right there. It's just that, do we know where to find him, how to tap into him, how to get him involved in our day-to-day lives? And so this is what for such a time as this is about. Because realistically, even though Tanique and I feel estranged a little, and you know what, we're not really all that estranged. We're not. But maybe for somebody else in our situation, it would feel weird. It really doesn't. But you know what? It started out weird to begin with. But it wasn't family or friends that made us comfortable where we were. It was the Holy Spirit and it was the Lord. He made us comfortable where we are. And so we know the phrase, bloom where you are planted. And not only us, the kids apparently are blooming where they, and they're supposed to have it harder than us. I mean, we get to stay home most of the time in the day, but those kids get to go out in school every day, and they're in a predominantly white school. But they're really, really navigating.
Yeah.
And they're handling, because we're not there all the time to answer the questions or to give them support. We're not there, we're home. So they have to learn to manage that situation on their own, and I'm so proud of them. Good job, Tanique, on your baby boys.
Yeah.
And God is doing a good job. He really is. So we want to thank you for listening to our introductory episode. We will have many exciting topics to come. We'd like you to subscribe to our podcast and become a regular listener. And while we're sharing issues, we will always give you the biblical solution to what the issues, the day-to-day issues and struggles are. So we thank you very much for joining us, and we'll see you later.
Bye.
Goodbye.
For such a time as this,